Look, I think it's time.
We're here for one person.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to get to the good stuff. Please welcome to the stage, as he runs down the aisle, Ken Davenport. Give him a round of applause.
Davenport.
Oh. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here. I forgot my clicker. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Super Conference. What is this, an accounting conference? It's a theater conference. Welcome to the Super Conference. That's so much better. So much better. I am so excited to be here. Look at all the people. There are more people in this audience than many of the shows that I've produced. Someone remind me to go to the marketing conference later. I'm thrilled to be here. This is our third year of this conference. I can't believe it. How many people were have been to the first one? How many people were there at the first one? Amazing. How many people have been to 2 conferences so far? How many people have been to all 3? Well, that's amazing. You've been to all 3. I feel like I should give you a prize or something. Well, look, I've got a couple shows running right now, so if you want tickets, I'll get you full price tickets anytime you want, okay? You just let me know. No, I think we have some stuff. You want a t-shirt? Who's been here 3 times? Oh, now there's more hands all of a sudden. Here, t-shirt. Oh my gosh. Here. Here, twice? Okay, we'll take it twice. Here, pass these back. If you've been here 3 times, go see Summer at the booth. She'll give you a free t-shirt. So thank you so much for being here. As you can tell, I'm very excited. My whole team is excited. The reason we're excited is we know one thing. One indisputable fact is that when you get passionate people in a room who all want the same thing, things happen. And in this room specifically, when you gather passionate people who all want the same thing, theater happens. We know that now. We've done this 3 times. We've seen the results every time we do this. And the one thing that every person in this room has in common, we want to make theater, right? Every single person in this room, regardless of what your discipline is. You may be a playwright, you may be a director, you may be a producer, you may be an investor. At the end of it, we're all the same. We're all theater makers. That's what we do, right? That's what we want to do. I wake up every single morning saying, what could I do to make more theater? And everyone in this room has this in common. So as you go through this weekend, one of the things I will challenge you all to do, whether you're at the networking break or at the cocktail party later tonight or you're seeing Slave play, and you see someone from this conference and you're a little nervous about saying hello, remember, we all want the same thing. You have this amazing thing in common with every single person in this room. So when you feel that little bit of nervousness, remember that and reach out and shake a hand. Okay? Reach out and make a connection. Because I will tell you, this is where it happens. This is where theater begins. This is why we hold this conference. This is why we send you 147 emails to try to get here. Worked out okay. We do that because we know it's so important, especially in the theater, to make these personal connections. Theater is a collaborative art form. It cannot be done on your own. It cannot. You may be a book writer looking for a composer. You may be a playwright looking for a producer. You may be looking for a marketing director, an investor. You need other people. Even Lin-Manuel Miranda needs other people, right? Our most successful multi-hyphenate of all time, perhaps in history, he needed other people, right? We need it. So make these connections. Make them. And in this world where it's so easy to sit in our homes and make online connections, and don't get me wrong, I love me some social media. You already know I love me some email. It's great, but all that supports making the in-person live connection. And frankly, isn't that what theater's about? Our job is to get people in a room. Our job is not to get people to consume our content sitting on a couch. We have to get people in a room. So in order to create it, you have to get in a room. I'll also argue that you have to get in a room in this city every once in a while. Speaking of, how many people from New York City? How many people from LA? How many people from overseas? Anyone London in the house? Europe? Far East? Is Johannesburg in the house? We've got people from Johannesburg here. It's amazing. It's so important to make that commitment to be in this city at least a few times a year and make these connections. Because this is the theater capital of the world. I don't care what London says. This is it, right? And when you get in these rooms with really passionate people, this is where shit gets done. This is how stuff happens when people get in a room. The only exception to this rule is Congress, but that's a whole other conference, right? When you get passionate people in a room, stuff happens. In fact, this keynote, everyone told me, my staff told me, who's amazing, by the way, do a general overview about what the weekend is, and I kind of skipped that and inserted a few slides. I'm going to give you a very specific action item right now, your first one of the conference. Okay? How many people have worked on a show, and that show has been stalled at some point, stuck, a script on a shelf, something, right? I've got 3 of these right now, by the way. You want a very simple action item to get that show unstuck? Ready? You can do this on your first break. Call a meeting. That's it. Send an email to everyone working on that project, and if you don't have people on the project, get them. There are a lot of people in this room that would probably be one of those people. And call a meeting. Get everyone together and watch what happens when your passion helps light a fuse on that project. Energy will come out of that. That's what happens. Because you're a theater maker. And your passion, by the way, all this passion that I've noticed, I have been in touch with so many of you over the years since my very first blog 11 years ago now. And your passion, you know, we do a lot more than we did in that when I started blogging 11 years ago. And the reason I do it is because you have inspired me. Doing what we do, many people ask, Ken, you're producing 17 shows, you're doing this, you're doing that. Why do you have conferences, and why do you have a blog, and why do you do all this stuff? And it's very simple. I can't help it because I am so inspired by all of your passion to do what I do and everyone else on this stage that you're going to see over this weekend does. It has become a mission of mine, literally a life's purpose to try to help you get to where you want to be. And I'm going to give you a little insight into my brain right now, is that I'm a big believer in writing out your goals and putting them somewhere where you can see them every day. So I'm a Windows user. Don't tell Steve Jobs, because I did a commercial for him a long time ago. But I'm a Windows user, and I use virtual sticky notes. Everyone know these things? Very simple. I have a sticky note on my desktop that lists my goals. This is a picture of one. This is my number 1 goal. I vow to help our community of theater makers make more theater faster than they can on their own. This is what I wake up every morning, and when I look at that desktop, I am reminded to do. And this is why we do all these things. This is why. The other 2 are secret. I am a believer in secrets, right? I learned that at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute. Secrets are good sometimes. But that first one is not a secret. It's why I'm here standing on this stage on a Saturday morning. It's why I'm here. And I know it's why all of you are here as well. It's why I picked this crazy goal of trying to help 5,000 shows get produced by 2025. Crazy. It's what I call a BHAG. It's an acronym designed by a couple of entrepreneurs years ago. Stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. And I want this badly, and I'm going to work very hard to get it. I feel like, frankly, I feel like a protagonist in a musical. I have a very strong want and an objective, and I'm trying to accomplish it. In fact, I should have an I want song for this. Actually, that's a good idea. We should do that for next year's conference. We'll have a little contest or something. Anyway, since we started all this stuff, since we started doing this amazing thing, since we established this goal and all the resources that we have, the amazing thing is it's working. More theater is happening. More theater is getting made and getting on stages. We've had so many success stories so far. Shows are getting readings. Shows are getting into festivals. Shows are getting New York Times reviews. We have Drama Desk nominees. We've added it up. People in our community have raised well over $1 million. This is all happening now because of the passion that you have. So if you are a theater maker, if you want to make more theater, you are in the room where theater happens. This is where it begins, rooms like this. And the cool thing is, there's actually no better time to be a theater maker than today. None. How many people know this book? Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell, great. If you haven't read it, it's a great one. Read Tipping Point first, which he wrote, fantastic marketing book. This was his follow-up, The Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell postulated that in addition to pursuing a passion desperately, you also have to be pursuing that passion at the right time. It's one of the reasons that made Bill Gates so successful. It was the right time for computing. Okay? Well, to quote a lyric from my upcoming musical Harmony that opens February 11th at the National Yiddish Theater, Folksby in downtown, it's me. You don't think I get a plug in here somehow? To quote a lyric from that Barry Manilow, Bruce Sussman score, this is our time. This is it. And this is not some inspirational, motivational bullshit. I have data to back this up because this is also me. It's what I do, right? Number one, Broadway is booming like it never has before. We've heard this. I've been interviewed many, many times about this subject. We have never seen grosses this high, attendance this high. We've never seen so many shows lined up for theaters coming to Broadway. We've never seen so many investors wanting to get in on this game. We've never seen so many corporations, so many actors. It's cool to be a theater maker now. And all this amazingly from Broadway trickles down, by the way. It's not just Broadway. Regional theaters, touring subscriptions are way up. We're seeing more success in regional theaters, community theaters, high schools, international. Johannesburg again is in the house. We've gone global because it is cool to do theater again, right? Which is an amazing benefit for all the theater makers in the world. You're going to be looked at for your content now more than ever. It's our time. The other reason that it's our time, we're about to go through a major period of disruption in this market. The theater is about to be disrupted. It is coming. It's coming. And I'm not just saying this. Again, I have a little proof. How do I know disruption is coming to the theater industry and in content creation specifically? It's happened in our sister industries first. So if ever you want to see what's going to happen to the theater, and I've been watching this for 30 years now, watch what happens to movies and music first. It will hit us eventually. It just starts with them, and then the wave hits our shores. We all know what's happened with music over the years. We've seen, remember Napster? LimeWire? We all know the distribution of music has changed significantly over the last 20 years. The production of music has also changed significantly. Used to be you needed a label to get an album, to go into a studio, to book a tour, etc. Anyone can record a song, record an album, distribute it themselves, book a tour, stream a concert from their living room, and make a living, and gain thousands and thousands and thousands of fans.
And get nominated for a Grammy.
Boom. I want to drop the clicker, a click drop. It's happened to movies. How many people go to a movie anymore? A few. It's a matter of, you're not getting a t-shirt for that, by the way. We all know the distribution of movies has changed significantly now. Streaming, I just blogged about this recently. Disney Plus, when Disney gets in the game, look out, right? But the democratization of production of movies has changed significantly over the last 20 years. Anyone can make a movie with this and release it and sell it and get noticed for it much faster than they could in the old days of the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers in those two industries are going away. And this is going to happen here. We're just a little slower. Everything in the theater industry is a little behind. We're like 10 years behind. It has to do with we're not as technologically based. It has to do with our audience is a little older. Those are the reasons why we're 10 years behind, but I promise you it's coming. The power is going back into the hands of the content creators. And one of the reasons we do all the things that we do is to help empower you to be ready for this era. Because it is coming. It is coming. More proof. Everyone know this statistic? 1 out of 5 shows make their money back on Broadway. It's 20%. People think that's not very good. It's actually decent for a startup industry like Broadway musicals, very high risk. 10% of startups in this country make it. 20% of Broadway shows make it. So it's not as bad as people think. Here's a stat that many people don't know. 4 out of 5 Broadway musicals that win the Tony Award for Best Musicals recoup. 80%. It's actually flipped. I don't actually think that's a coincidence. It's a little Pareto principle 80-20 rule there. 80% of those shows go on to make money. So logic, reasoning will say, produce the best musical Tony Award winner and you're going to make a lot of money. Simple, right? Okay, a little simplistic statement, but you would say, well, what's working? Big splashy musicals, big Broadway style musicals, those are winning Tony Awards. We've got to look at movies, we've got to look at catalogs, we've got to look at all those things. Let's look at the last 6 Tony Award winning best musicals. What do these have in common? They all won the Tony. They all made money. They will all have tours. They will all be done all over the world in theaters of all different sizes. They are all small to medium-sized musicals. There is not one single big blockbuster movie to musical adaptation on this list. There is not one single jukebox musical on this list. And I also guarantee you, I would bet the capitalization of all of those shows together, that at one point in the creation of these musicals, someone said to those theater makers, your show is not a Broadway show. It doesn't belong on Broadway. That's not the type of show that Broadway audiences want. And those passionate theater people said, I'm doing it anyway. And they did it, and they were rewarded critically with a big old trophy and dollars, which they put back into just creating more content. This is a sign that we are at the beginning of a revolution. We are at the beginning of a theater maker revolution. Now, the interesting thing about revolutions is they're not done alone. It's not one kid who throws a barricade in the street and says, let's go. It's a whole bunch of them. It's a whole group of people. It's a community. It's a tribe of people that start a revolution. It's people with passion and a plan. We know you have passion. We're going to inject a little bit more of it over the weekend because we have some very inspirational speakers for you. But we know we have that because you're here. You showed up. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have that passion. You're investing your time with us, your resources with us, and I know that's a lot, but you're here. So pat yourself on the back for that. You've got that passion. You are going to walk away from this weekend with that plan. The same plan that put these 2 shows on Broadway by our 2 keynote speakers this weekend, that I guarantee you they were told their shows would never be on Broadway. They probably never even thought about it when creating them. But they were. 2 of the biggest stories of the past 12 months. They are here to tell you, all of our speakers are here to tell you, and I'm here to tell you that with passion and a plan, it not only can happen, but it will happen. Welcome to the Super Conference. Enjoy your weekend.